what were the challenges that your previous CFO faced that you broke? How long was the previous CFO working on this transformation? How fast were you able to do it? What were some of the challenges that you've faced and conquered along the journey?
I mean, I think this slide lays it out very nicely. I mean, because really, I came in as a new CFO to increase enterprise value, to change really what the company was, which is right there in the yellow, challenge the establishment. You know, coming from the outside and say, okay, hey guys, let me understand what's going on. Let me understand where the issues are and how do we start going about fixing it. And in order to do so, you need to get involved in the culture. You need to get social currency. You need to be part of the organization and get that trust. You need to sit there and say, hey, from the company perspective, what's important? You know, company-wide, this is why it's important. And then go to, you know, Jim and his IT tower and say, look, your priorities are second tier right now because the company really needs to do this first. And getting him to see that, agree it, understand it, and ultimately support it. So now you go, okay, great, Jim's gonna be my ally as we start to transform the company. And he might have a way to look at problems that I can't see. But now I'm starting to build my swarm team. I'm starting to get that momentum. I'm getting the right people involved that I can then start to move on this stuff. If I did it all behind a closed door, I'd be back in that linear model you had. It looked very evolutionary. You know, it takes decades upon centuries to evolve versus, okay, a swarm can happen in a couple weeks, a couple months. So for us, as we did our ERP and kind of started our tech stack from scratch, and we're done in about 4 months. So, and then for us,
how long was your previous predecessor working on it?
I want to say it was probably about 1.5 years and never really got like the traction. Didn't have some of these things. I don't think it did what this slide lays out to tell us to do. You know, predict the problems. Okay, well, do you know what the red and yellow slide are saying? Do you know what questions to ask? Do you have the right people on your team to help with that process?
Okay, I feel like I need to give Jim some.
He wants a rebuttal. Can you mute people on this?
It's probably not it's probably not a rebuttal as much as we would be so far ahead at that point in terms of what we think needs to be transformed anyway, because IT gets to see it all. Mm-hmm. So I think the real key is creating that partnership that says, you know, we could really impact this area and then be focused on that, like you said, and get it done in a timely manner. I so happen to agree, these projects that go on and on and on and never end, never do end. And so having a champion in the C-suite that really helps the IT organization focus and get the resources it needs to accomplish what needs to be done, that is really part of the panacea of a good working relationship. And the company does look at when the C-suite works together. People do watch that. The biggest question, though, I would ask you, Brett, is culture is sometimes one of the hardest things to change in a company. Even an internet company, cultures get defined pretty quickly. And I'm wondering your experience in overcoming cultural things that also need to come along while the good culture and changing the bad culture if you can.
Sure, yeah, no, I think, you know, like you mentioned, IT touches everything, but so does finance, so does HR, you know, and fortunately, you know, in a company our size, I get to play in all those spaces. And it's been really important, again, using this as sort of like the tool was to, you know, spend time with, you know, the sales team and say, okay, what do you do? How does this work? You know, and actually a very short story as well. When I started at Mobscene, I actually spent about 2 hours or so with the head of one of our departments in my office. And my office actually has a window that you can see into my office to see who's in there. Great conversation, like I said, about 2 hours long. As the manager left and walked back to his office on the other side of the building, he got stopped by 3 people asking if he was okay. I'm like, he's like, why? He's like, there's no reason you would be in the CFO's office for 3 hours unless you were just getting just ripped apart or whatever it was. And this guy was like, no. It's like, he asked me how I run my team. What are my pain points? What do I think of the company? What do I think of, you know, what do we need to address? What are the priorities in my mind? And he listened, you know, and that really starting my process in the culture. Okay, I can go and meet with you. This isn't big bad C-suite coming down, you know, to do whatever. This is, hey, look, I want to partner with you. I want to hear your perspectives. I want to be involved and make this better for you and ultimately for the company.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
I think if I can just jump in like really quick, it's in these situations, this is really your competitive advantage. Being consultants, we can go into 30 companies and we might find one company like this that is collaborating. And if you can break down those barriers and get them working together and get them working as a team, that is your competitive advantage.